with episode 7 of Morning Book Buzz. Woo! That's really annoying. I'm sorry, guys. We are so excited. I feel like I keep doing all these annoying things that when you see me in person again, you'll be like, oh, man. Stay behind your screen. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We are the Penguin Random House Library Marketing Team. My name is Jen Rubin. We are so excited that you've come back for episode 7. I feel like that, could be a lucky number. Who knows what's going to happen today? So lucky episode 7. And the hashtag is PRH Morning Buzz. We see some people have already been using it. Thank you. We're so flattered and excited and honored that you decided to spend Wednesday mornings with us. So cheers. Here's to our coffee. I have a mini coffee cup today because I was not trusting my I have a lot of props. I don't want to knock it over. It's very European, no?
Thank you.
So we have a great show for you today, and we first want to introduce our panelists. Although I think I mess this up every time. Maybe we'll have to switch the slides next week. We're going to go over what our T is. HC is hardcover. TR is trade paperback. LP is large print. Ebook is electronic book. eGalley is available for the books that have the circle with the orange E in it. AD is audio download, and CD is compact disc. And now, our lovely panelists. As I said, I am Jennifer Rubin.
I'm Chelsea Good, coming live from Pennsylvania.
Oh, thanks for saying where you're calling from. I think that's so interesting to know. We're all over the country, all of us.
Jen Childs coming to you from Naples, Florida. And yes, they did open our beaches and close them again and open them again. We're trying.
And I'm Elizabeth Fabian, and I'm calling in from Connecticut this morning where it's finally sunny.
Oh, I know. I'm in Brooklyn, and it's sunny here, too. And I want to mention we also have 2 other lovely secret panelists. If you see Sydney's name and Kelly's name on your screen, they are our champions behind the scene, keeping the engines running. So they're helping out. They're doing the Q&A and the chat box, which is a great reminder. Use the Q&A and the chat box. I don't know which way it would be. This way? This way? Use them. We're, on hand, on deck to answer your questions, to chit-chat, and we're excited to dive into the books. But first, we have some exciting news.
Yes, so I hope you guys are all familiar with Borrow, Read, Repeat, which is our book recommendation website where we reach out directly to your patrons and encourage them to borrow books from and support their local libraries. And, after the success of our Morning Book Buzz, we decided to host our first book recommendation event for patrons, Borrow, Read, Repeat Live, premiering this Friday, May 15th at 1 p.m. ET. And we're really hoping to make this a monthly event where we'll talk about our current favorite reads, best bets for book clubs, perfect picks for summer, outstanding audiobooks, and much more. And we'd love it if you could spread the word to your patrons. We'll be sending registration info and shareable assets for social media with the wrap-up. And, of course, you all are welcome to join us, too.
I know. A lot of librarians have been asking that. We're like, of course, the more the merrier. We're so excited.
And I'll say that we're so thrilled. We already have over 800 people signed up, so all signs point to success. We'll see.
No pressure. No pressure. And I wanted to touch on some exciting audiobook resources. I've talked about some of these before, but it's always good to have a reminder because I feel like, thankfully, there are so many incredible resources out there, especially right now, and we want to make sure you're not missing any great opportunities. Volumes is the Penguin Random House audio app. It's free to download for Android or iPhone. So if you do so, or if you already have it, you might notice we have a current free audiobook download for anybody who has the app. It's The Mothers by Britt Bennett, and it's read by Adenrele Ojo. And we would love for you to be able to take advantage of this and to tell your patrons they can take advantage too. I mean, I know holds are high, especially for a book by Britt Bennett, I assume. So this is a great opportunity. It's available until noon on May 14th. That's tomorrow. So this is a great time if you haven't yet downloaded the app. This is the kind of thing that comes up every month or so, that there's opportunities to have free downloads that are also open to patrons and everybody else. And then, as you might know, as a librarian, there's also some opportunities to have a special review ability on the app as well, to hear audiobooks that you don't have to wait on your own hold list to listen to. So please be in touch with us if you're curious about that and want to learn more. And then also, this is a really cool program. It's called Audiobooks Sync, or it's called Sync, Audiobooks for Teens. It's from AudioFile, but it's sponsored by a slew of publishers, listening library included, and we're so thrilled to be part of this program. Again, this honestly is free audiobooks for teens or whoever wants to listen to them all summer long. So it started a couple weeks ago. We'll be sponsoring from Listening Library 4 incredible titles throughout the summer, but go to audiobooksync.com and you can see the full schedule and learn how you can access these audiobooks and tell your teens that they can get them too. And they're honestly free. It's a really wonderful program, especially for that summer slide and getting kids to keep reading all summer long. And then finally, This Is the Author is available wherever you find podcasts. Excellent for readers and listeners advisory. You get to know our authors a little bit better when they're in the studio. There you see we recently had Samantha Irby on, who's hilarious, Lennon Doyle, Mike McCarg. I recently did an interview with Emily Newberger, who wrote A Tender Thing about the theater, and we talk about why we love Broadway. So there's just all different kinds of books, all different kinds of tidbits and interviews. So we hope that you'll check that out. It's wherever you can find podcasts, including on the Volumes app as well.
So all of us at Penguin Random House are working around the clock to bring our authors to you and your patrons. And here is just some of those many, many virtual author events that you can watch this week. You can also check out the most up-to-date schedule each week. They're constantly updating with new events and ways you can see the authors at penguinrandomhouse.com/booksconnectuslive. And you can also go back and visit the site for archived videos so you can watch, in case you missed something live, you can go back and watch it whenever you want.
I walked by Emma Straub's bookstore the other day, and it was such a bright spot to see because I haven't been out on a lot of walks around my neighborhood, but her store is like wallpapered in the window. It's 1 million copies of All Adults Here, which is such a bright, happy cover, and I spotted it from across the street. It was such a cool sight. It's just row after row after row of her book. Great, advertising, but it looked really great. It just made me smile to see it from afar.
Very cool.
Oh my gosh. So it's pop quiz time, but I have to report a crime. This is really disappointing. I mean, times are tough, and unfortunately, if you've been joining our buzzes week after week, you've come to know the purple hat, the beloved purple hat of our pop quiz that my fellow teammates have nightmares about now, of like that damn purple hat. If we weren't all quarantined separately, I might suspect one of you stole it. But it was last spotted on the head of a suspicious toddler with a fake cell phone. I don't really know what this shady character was doing, but if you have any leads, contact us at #PRHMorningBuzz. And the pop quiz, fear not, ladies, will still go on because I have other hats. So we have this train conductor hat that, amazingly, the hat was stolen, but the interior contents were not. So they didn't know where the real value lied in this hat. So I'm reaching into my hat, and Chelsea, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
What's the last craft or crafty thing you have done during this time?
I am not a crafty person whatsoever.
But I suspect there's a but there.
Well, I helped. I mean, I guess this is not really a fun craft, but I helped my mom cut out filters for our masks. So that's about as crafty as I get.
That's a really important craft.
An important one, yes.
A sign of our times.
Yes.
It is. I mean, sadly, but there's been so many incredible mask stories I feel like people have been sharing about the dedication and craftiness that's been going into making those masks. So I think that's a really good one to share. Anyone else, ladies? Craftiness?
I am also not crafty, but keeping 3 little boys actively engaged has made good use of lots of paper boxes and like all the shipment deliveries you get with like your toilet paper and your tissues. And so we use all of those boxes to make castles and forts, and that's the extent of my crafting ability.
That's so much more fun than mine.
Yeah, I also have had to be art teacher, homeschooler.
Yeah.
So we did a craft project the other day for art class, and theirs were pretty good, but I think mine was probably the best. But I didn't tell them that.
What was the craft?
We had to do a drawing that was of trees, and you'd have to cut out little spirals for the leaves, which I have to say I forgot how much I enjoyed scissors. It's very meditative.
Oh, well, that's really sweet. I mean, I love hearing that, and I hope at home too. We would love to see what you've been up to. What crafts have you been doing? Maybe while listening to audiobooks or with your family. So PRH Morning Buzz, share the crafty things you've been doing at home. It was my husband's birthday, so I helped my son make a birthday card. So that's my recent craft, and then also my slate. This morning. This was, I think, my work-related craft project. So.
You made that?
Well, no, I just wrote on it. Okay. Doesn't tape and a Sharpie count as crafting?
Yeah,
totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we have to set the bar a little lower this morning. We're very busy. Anyway, well, thanks for sharing that. I hope that the hat can return in a future week. We will see if this suspicious character cooperates and wants to relinquish the hat to us.
Doubtful.
Until then. And now on to the books.
Yes, I am so excited to launch our book chat this morning talking about Naomi Novik. She is, as you know, the best-selling author of Uprooted and Spinning Silver, and she's back with a brand new book, A Deadly Education. This is the story of an unwilling dark sorceress, and she's going to rewrite the rules of magic. So every sorcerer has a gift, a talent for transformation, a taste for combat magic, and mastering their gifts in a unique magical academy means the chance to being invited to the Enclaves, which is the world's magical elite. But Elt Higgins, our main character, has a talent for mass destruction. Someday she could level mountains, she could destroy millions with her power, and basically this talent has alienated her from everyone around her. So she protects herself with mordant wit and defiant spirit. But then her eyes are opened to what the real story is behind the most beloved and celebrated magician, this real story behind her school and the world. And she realizes that she might be the only person who can save it. It's so good. It's so good. It's like Harry Potter for adults. It taps into all that nostalgia, but it also has this really deeply feminist story. It portrays sophisticated real life issues. And this is the best news, that it's not just a standalone book like her other books. It's the start of a new series. So we get to see more of her after this. The e-galley is ready and waiting for you. And Naomi Novik will be participating in Library Journal's virtual day of dialogue too, so you get to hear from her. So that's really exciting. I couldn't wait to share this news with you. If some of you haven't yet requested the e-galley, please do. It's sure to be a wonderful, fun, great read. So next is The Year of Witching, a stunning own voices fantasy debut by an African-American author. And like A Deadly Education, The Year of Witching embraces feminist themes. It evokes The Handmaid's Tale in its treatment of female oppression and then rebellion. So that's really exciting. So the land is a rigid puritanical Bethel. The prophet's word is law. Emmanuel Moore's very existence is blasphemy. Her mother's union with an outsider of a different race cast her family into shame and disgrace. So she does her best to lead a life of submission and devotion and absolute conformity, just like all of the other women in the community. But a mishap lures her into the deep, dark wood that surrounds Bethel, where four spirit witches lurk, and they bestow a gift upon her, the journal of her dead mother. And she begins to learn the grim truth about the church and their history, and she understands that the only way to change the society is to begin with her. So that's another wonderful and, of course, great for an own voices read. And then continuing with our girl power theme here is We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan Barry, the acclaimed author of She Weeps Each Time You're Born. We're set in the coastal town of Danvers, Massachusetts, where, of course, the accusations that led to the Salem witch trials began. We Ride Upon Sticks follows the 1989 Danvers High School Falcons field hockey team. They will do anything to make the state finals, even if it means tapping into some dark powers. They are helmed by the good girl Captain Abby Putnam, a descendant of the infamous Anne Putnam. The Falcons prove to be wily and original and bold. They flaunt all of society's notions of what they should be, and they are willing to do just about anything to support their team and their friendship. My favorite quote about this book is from an editor at LitHub, and it says it all. This novel, in which a high school field hockey team turns to the dark side, well, sort of, via a plaque penned in purple ink in Emilio Estevez's notebook, it is the 80s, is almost too much fun to be allowed. I haven't snickered so much reading a novel since I was a kid. Truly a delight in every way. So how could you resist that?
All in.
Next, Game of Thrones meets The Princess Bride in The Siren and the Deep Blue Sea. This is a hilarious series combining romance and high fantasy from the best-selling author Carolyn Sparks. In this, book 2 of the Embraced by Magic series, we're immersed in a world populated by duplicitous elves, sentient trees, shape-shifting dragons, and warrior princesses. There are 4 sisters who have become queens, and the last sister will forge her own path. Maeve is used to unusual powers, having been raised on the magic-steeped Isle of Moon, but when she discovers an ability to shapeshift at will, she knows exactly who she wants to share this with first. So, enter the male. Cursed as a boy by the sea witch, Brody can spend only 2 hours a day in his human form. It's a restriction that limits his future and muzzles his heart. To win his freedom, he must take on a terrible disguise. But when Maeve finds out, she will unleash a tempest like no other. Strong heroines, humor, curses, what more could you want? And finally, available in both English and Spanish language editions, is A Discovery of Witches. Deborah Harkness's sparkling debut, A Discovery of Witches, brought her into the spotlight and galvanized fans around the world. And in this tale of passion and obsession, Diana Bishop, a young scholar and a descendant of witches, discovers a long-lost and enchanted manuscript deep in Oxford Bodleian Library. Its reappearance summons a fantastical underworld, which she navigates with her leading man, vampire geneticist Matthew Claremont. This riveting tale of magic and suspense became a phenomenon, and now with the AMC TV series, even more readers are continuing to flock to the books, so please keep recommending it. So that's such a fun slide. I was so excited to talk about all these great books and all the female power, and we had a lot of fun coming up with the header of like the dark magic touch. So hope you enjoy them all.
I love it. I feel like a bit of a failure that I don't have a witch's hat at home or anything I was going to do the flashlight to scare people, but it's too bright in here because it's a beautiful sunny day. So next time I'll be more prepared. Jen, I feel like A Deadly Education is going to be the name of the memoir you write about homeschooling.
It might be.
I just want to add, well, first of all, I love all the excitement. People are chatting in the Q&A about how excited they are for Naomi Novik. Thanks for sharing your excitement. I'm thrilled. She's always a hit on audio, too. And just to remind everyone, Spinning Silver was an Audie Award winner for fantasy. I feel like her beautiful writing just translates beautifully to audio. And one of the things I miss most about being in the office is that I would always run into audiobook producers as I walked down the hallway. And I remember the day when one of our directors she stopped me and she said, I'm directing We Ride Upon Sticks right now. Isabel Keating was in the studio. She is a Tony-nominated actress. I saw her in The Boy from Oz with Hugh Jackman. She's incredible, but she reads this audiobook and the director was like, oh my God, you have to listen to this. She's doing incredibly. Can you come in and listen to a little bit of it? And I ended up missing that chance, but now we all have the chance to see the magic that she did in the studio because the director stopped me to rave specifically about that book and the recording. Cool. So yeah.
And I played field hockey, so I have an automatic vote for this one.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, now on to some downward-facing favorites. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely could use some help relaxing these days. And, what better way to calm down and take a deep breath than with some yoga and meditation books. And our first title is New York Times bestselling author Deepak Chopra's Total Meditation, the definitive book on meditation that will help you achieve new dimensions of stress-free living. Doesn't that sound great? For the last 30 years, Deepak Chopra has been at the forefront of the meditation revolution in the West. In Total Meditation, Deepak guides readers on how to wake up to new levels of awareness that will ultimately cultivate a clear vision, heal suffering in your mind and body, and help recover who you really are. With this book, Deepak elevates the practice of meditation to a life-changing quest for higher consciousness and a more fulfilling existence. He also incorporates new research on meditation and its benefits, provides dozens of practical awareness exercises, and the book concludes with a 52-week program of meditations to help revolutionize every aspect of your life. And just as a fun story, Deepak Chopra came in, spoke to some of the sales team, I think that was back in February, and he led a meditation. And I'm not a big meditation person per se, but it was amazing. And I know, it made me really think, wow, I really need to be meditating more. And so if that 5-minute meditation was any indication, this book is going to be really, really incredible.
That's so funny. I was going to tell the same story. That was an incredible experience.
It was so good. Yeah, it was amazing.
And it makes me sad now because, when are we going to be in a room with that many people again? It was hundreds of people in a room listening to this meditation, and you could have heard a pin drop. It was so interesting to experience that. I hadn't had that before, like you.
Yeah. Well, now you can have this book and you can do it at home.
That's true.
But okay, well, so now on to some yoga books for all you yogis and aspiring yogis. So first up is Yoga for Everyone by Diane Bondi, which offers yoga for every type of body, those who are big, those who are small, elderly, pregnant, or of various physical abilities. This book is about how yoga is for everyone. No matter who you are, what you look like, or what your abilities are, you can do all 50 poses in this book. So forget what you've heard. Yoga isn't just for the privileged few. It's meant to be enjoyed by everybody and everybody. Yes, you can do yoga, and Yoga for Everyone will show you how. Next, we have Laughter Yoga by Dr. Madan Kataria. The definitive guide by the founder of the worldwide laughter yoga movement that will show you how to giggle your way to good health. Laughter yoga is all about voluntary laughter, so making yourself laugh, with the idea that if you act happy, you'll become happy. The exercises in this book combine voluntary laughter with yogic breathing to give you a full body-mind workout. And it turns out that laughter is the fastest way to reduce stress and the best kind of cardio. 10 minutes of hearty laughter is equal to 30 minutes on the rowing machine, which, I would definitely spend 10 minutes laughing rather than 30 minutes rowing. With Laughter Yoga, join the growing worldwide movement and discover how laughter really is the best medicine. And next we have The Genius of Yoga by Alan Finger and Peter Furco. Both mindfulness meditation and yoga practice have reached such a level of popularity that they have revolutionized how we think about tending to our health and well-being. But meditation done through a yogic framework goes beyond mindfulness. It not only gives you specific tools for improving health and creating emotional balance, but also offers you an experience beyond the sense-focused mind and provides access to your innate genius so you can reach a deep source of creativity and inspiration within you. And finally, we have the Spanish language translation of Anne Swanson's Science of Yoga, Anatomía del Yoga. Understand anatomy to perfect your practice by exploring the physiology of 30 key yoga poses in depth and from every angle, and master each asana with confidence and control. With insight into variations on the poses and a Q&A section that explores the science behind every aspect of yoga, this easy-to-understand, comprehensive book is an invaluable resource to achieve technical excellence in your practice and optimize the benefits of yoga for your body and mind.
Oh. And Denise just wrote in, we get our laughs each week with this program. Thanks for the workout. Thank you. We couldn't do it without all of you. I love this slide. I feel like this is exactly what we need. And Deepak Chopra will read the audiobook, so we can all bring him into our homes eventually when this comes out to re-experience what we had the real privilege of experiencing together. And Laughter Yoga is read by a fabulous narrator, Sunil Malhotra, and it also includes a PDF of illustrations and photographs from the book. So even with the audio version, you're not missing out on some of those elements. So as I said, it's our 7th episode. So we've been sitting still a lot. We've been at our desks. We've been inside. So we just want to encourage encourage all of you to take a moment. Let's do our 7th episode stretch. We can't see you at home, so we're the only ones making fools of ourselves.
This is where you find out if we're wearing pajama bottoms or not.
I know, we reveal that we're just from the top up dressed. So anyway, we're doing bookish stretches. All right. We hope you all feel like you got a good workout at home. Thanks for indulging us. 7th episode stretch. And now on with the game.
All right. Next up, universal truths. I think we've all perhaps had a little too much time to ponder our place in the universe these days. With these books, we can leave the musings to the professionals. We can dream of trips not just to the grocery store, but even to Mars. And we can examine how our small lights fit into the larger schemes of things. First up, Until the End of Time, is Brian Greene's breathtaking new exploration of the cosmos and our quest to find meaning in the face of this vast expanse. Greene takes us on a journey from the Big Bang to the end of time, exploring how lasting structures formed, how life and mind emerged, and how we grapple with our existence through narrative, myth, religion, creative expression, science, the quest for truth, and a deep longing for the eternal. The Wall Street Journal says of the book, an ambitious and utterly readable, Greene weaves personal stories, scientific ideas, concepts, and facts into a delightful tapestry. What is remarkable about Mr. Greene's book is how he has delved into deep questions that not only have no simple answers, but may never be settled at all. And in The Sirens of Mars, this is a beautifully observed, deeply personal book. Here, Georgetown scientist Sarah Stewart Johnson tells the story of how she and other researchers have scoured Mars for signs of life, transforming the planet from a distant point of light into a world of its own. Empathetic and evocative, The Sirens of Mars offers an unlikely natural history of a place where no human has ever set foot, while providing a vivid portrait of our quest to defy our isolation in the cosmos. Kirkus Review said it's a vivid, poetic account, and a starred review from Publishers Weekly said an enthusiastic and lyrical chronicle of the scientific quest to uncover Mars's secrets. Next up from Sarah Seeger is a memoir, The Smallest Lights in the Universe. We had a chance to meet Sarah at PLA. She was just lovely. This is a touching memoir of a life in science and exploration of grief. Sarah Seeger has always been in love with the stars, so many lights in the sky, so much possibility. As a pioneering planetary scientist, she searches for exoplanets, especially that distant, elusive world that sustains life. But unexpectedly, Seeger's husband passed away, and the purpose of her own life becomes hard for her to see. Suddenly at 40, she's a widow and the single mother of 2 young boys, and for the first time, she feels truly alone in the universe. As she struggles to navigate her life after loss, she takes solace in the alien beauty of exoplanets and the technical challenges of navigation. But at the same time, she discovers earthbound connections that feel every bit as wondrous when strangers and loved ones alike reach out to her across the space of her grief. Most unexpected of all, there's another kind of a 1 in a billion match, not the stars, but here at home. Ultimately, a very uplifting memoir about moving through grief and loss. In The Human Cosmos, author Joe Marchant shares a unique history of how our perception of the night sky has shaped humanity. For at least 20,000 years, we've led not just an earthly existence, but a cosmic one. Celestial cycles drove every aspect of our daily lives. Our innate relationship with the stars shaped who we were, our art, our religious beliefs, social status, scientific advances, and even our biology. But over the last few centuries, Joe Marchant says, we have separated ourselves from the universe that surrounds us. It's a disconnect with a dire cost, and this book attempts to begin that healing. And then finally, in the Big Book of Mars, the Red Planet again takes center stage in this well-researched and fully illustrated pop history of Earthlings' long relationship with Mars. Mars has fully invaded pop culture. It has its own day of the week, which is Tuesday, if you didn't know, or Martis in Latin. It has its own candy bar, an iconic Looney Tunes character. It's been the subject of novels and movies from Ray Bradbury's The Martian Chronicles to Mars Attacks to The Martian. And it sparked a space race feud between Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, who both hope to send a manned mission to Mars in the near future. Filled with entertaining history, archival images, pop culture ephemera, and interviews with NASA scientists, the Big Book of Mars is the most comprehensive look at our relationship with Mars yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
I love this slide. I feel like it's such a nice pairing too with going from yoga to this, and gives you so much to think about. I love to, I just want to share really quickly the audiophile review, because Brian Greene reads his own audiobooks, and they said that he has an engaging voice. He uses it well as he takes listeners on a tour of the cosmos from its first moments to its last. He comes across as gentle, persuasive, and caring. And I'm like, okay, that's exactly what I want
That's what we
listen
need
to or read. So however you take it in, I think it could be a really comforting choice right now. And hopefully, I think there's some potential author reads in here too for the audiobook versions. The Sirens of Mars and The Smallest Lights in the Universe will hopefully be read by the authors. But one of my favorite moments to come out of quarantine, I think, is that my son, who's 3 next week, likes to look for the moon. And I just, you know, you forget sometimes, like, to take a moment and just look out the window at the sky. And it's been one of the nice things that we've been doing, in addition to like the clap at 7 o'clock where you stand and look out the window and you actually see other people in their windows. I feel like you don't often look out and take that moment. So these books could be a good reminder to do that as well.
Absolutely.
So we are thrilled to pieces to talk to you about more thrillers and suspense novels. We have
puns.
So how do you like your thrillers? Do you like them steeped in rumors? Do you like them crawling with secrets, packed with partially reliable narrators, set in mysterious foreign cities? Well, we've got something for everybody, so stay tuned. Okay, we're going to start off with True Story. If you enjoy literary page-turners like My Sister the Serial Killer and Her Body and Other Parties, then the debut thriller True Story is for you. The year is 2015. Alice Levitt is a gifted and talented ghostwriter. She makes a living helping other people tell their stories, but she is haunted by the one story that she can't tell, the story of, as she puts it, the things that happened while I was asleep. In 1999, the Nick brothers and his lacrosse teammates return from their senior year at a wealthy Maryland high school as the reigning state champions. They're on top of the world until two of his friends drive a passed-out girl home from one of the team's legendary parties. A rumor about what happened in the back seat spreads through the town like wildfire. True Story is part psychological thriller, part fever dream, part timely commentary on sexual assault, power, and the very nature of truth. And this is definitely a book that you will need to talk about. So if you have mystery book clubs, this is highly recommended for them. There's so much to talk about in this book. Next is for fans of The Girl on the Train and The Couple Next Door. It's Who Did You Tell? A gripping novel of psychological suspense from the best-selling author of The Rumor, about a recovering alcoholic and the dark secrets that are about to catch up with her. Astrid is newly sober and trying to turn her life around. She's reluctantly moved back in with her mother in a quiet seaside town to avoid the temptations of darkness of her previous life. She's focusing on recovery. She's going to meetings, she's confessing her misdeeds, she's making amends, but someone knows exactly what she's running from, and they won't stop until she knows that some mistakes can't be corrected.
Dun, dun, dun.
Next is for fans of Lisa Gardner and Lisa Scottolini. This is In Case of Emergency, the new thriller from E.G. Scott. Charlotte has felt very alone since her promising career in neuroscience imploded, but she's had an online support group to get her through it. She has Rachel, a friend who's seen her through the worst of it, and now she has Peter, a mysterious new boyfriend, but he's asked that their budding romance remains a complete and total secret. So when he vanishes without a trace, she is too scared to report it. And weeks later, when the police contact her to make an ID on a body, she fears the worst. But it's not him at all. On the table in front of her is a woman she's never seen before. Why did Jane Doe have Charlotte listed as her emergency contact? Was it revenge or a warning? Okay. Next, from the acclaimed author of A Million Drops, comes Breathing Through the Wound, an engrossing psychological thriller that traces a widower's descent into the seedy underbelly of Madrid. Eduardo Quintada his life lost all meaning when his wife and daughter are killed in a tragic accident. He was a renowned painter, but he wallows in grief and guilt, subsisting on drugs and alcohol. He doesn't care if he lives or dies. But when a grieving mother asks him to paint a portrait of the man who killed her son, he finds himself drawn to this unusual commission. And as he sets out to discover what it takes to know a killer, he's pulled deeper and deeper into Madrid's criminal underworld, a dangerous and deadly web in which nothing and no one are as they seem. And I saved this one for last because I'm a complete and total sucker for a good heist story. So here we go. What do you get when you mix an epic Vegas heist, a high-octane international romance, and a charismatic thief forced to orchestrate one final treacherous job to save his family? Love and Theft by Stan Parrish. It's a thrilling read perfect for fans of Ocean's 11, The Italian Job, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So Alex Cassidy and Diane Allison meet at a party in Princeton, New Jersey, and the chemistry is instantaneous. She's a single mother, a local fixture in the community, and she has a successful catering company. He's a single father, a weekend homeowner. Oh, and he's the leader of an armed robbery crew that just pulled off a record-breaking jewel heist in Las Vegas. Neither one realizes that their lives have overlapped before, and that this shared history will threaten everyone they love. It's propulsive, it's cinematic, it's a sophisticated thriller about the illusion of control and the high price of transgressions. I love this slide.
That sounds like so much fun. I mean, aren't you glad, everyone, that there are e-galleys available for all of these so you don't have to wait? We don't have narrator news about most of them yet, but we do know that Angelo Di Loreto is reading Love and Theft. And this, I just have to tell the story. It's sort of unrelated, but the getaway thief story reminds me of, there's an episode of This Is the Author with John Kenny, the poet, who's such a funny writer, and we asked him where his favorite place to listen to an audiobook is, and he said, with a total straight deadpan, of course, in a getaway car after robbing something. And it makes me laugh every time. Anyway, but I'm really excited for this too. All of those,
I know. I feel like we get new books for our TBR every week too.
Yep. I almost forgot my prop for this slide. Can't forget my mysteries. All right.
Okay, next on to literary fiction for all of your literary fiction fans. First up, Memorial by Brian Washington is for readers of wise, big-hearted novels with a love story like The Mothers by Britt Bennett, and insightful electric fiction about identity and family like White Teeth by Zadie Smith. Love that book. And Goodbye Vitamin by Rachel Kong. Benson and Mike are two young guys who live together in Houston. Mike is a Japanese-American chef at a Mexican restaurant, and Benson is a black daycare teacher, and they've been together for a few years, good years. But now they're not sure why they're still a couple. But when Mike finds out his estranged father is dying in Osaka, just as his acerbic Japanese mother, Mitsuko, arrives in Texas for a visit, Mike picks up and flies across the world to say goodbye. Back home, Mitsuko arrives in Texas to sit with Benson, and they're stuck living together as unconventional roommates. It's an absurd domestic situation that ends up meaning more to each of them than they ever could have predicted. Both men will change in ways that will either make them stronger together or fracture everything they've ever known. And just maybe they'll be okay in the end. And for fans of fiction that takes readers intimately into the lives of women, such as the novels of Elizabeth Gilbert, Ann Tyler, and Anna Quinlan, comes Connie Schultz's debut novel, The Daughters of Erie Town. It's 1957, Clayton Valley, Ohio. Ellie has the best grades in her class. Her dream is to go to nursing school and marry Brick McGinty. A basketball star, Brick has the chance to escape his abusive father and become the first person in his blue-collar family to attend college. But when Ellie learns that she's pregnant, everything changes. Just as Brick and Ellie revise their plans and build a family, a knock on the front door threatens to destroy their lives. J. Courtney Sullivan, the New York Times bestselling author of Saints for All Occasions and the upcoming Friends and Strangers, says, "A moving, unforgettable story about time, progress, and how the mistakes of one generation get repeated or repaired by the next." Lilia Liska, the narrator of Must I Go, has shrewdly outlived 3 husbands, raised 5 children, and seen the arrival of 17 grandchildren. Now she turns her keen attention to the diary of a long-forgotten man named Roland Booley, with whom she once had a fleeting affair. Increasingly obsessed with Roland's intimate history, Lilia begins to annotate the diary with her own, rather different version of events, revealing the surprising, long-held secrets of her past. Gis Jen, author of The Resistors, said, "A portrait of resilience like no other, Must I Go takes the reader into entirely new emotional territory, bracing and almost unnervingly perceptive. This is wisdom literature for our time." And recommend this book to readers of Rachel Cusk and Zadie Smith. Leonard and Hungry Paul. This book was a British Book Award Debut Book of the Year finalist for 2020 and an Irish Book Award Newcomer of the Year finalist for 2019. In this charming and truly unique debut, popular Irish musician Ronan Hessian tells the story of 2 single 30-something men who still live with their parents and who are nice. They take care of their parents, they play board games together, they like to read, they take satisfaction from their work, and they are resolutely kind. And they realize that none of this is considered normal. This is the story of 2 friends struggling to protect their understanding of what's meaningful in life. It's about the uncelebrated people of this world, the gentle, the meek, the humble. And as they struggle to persevere, the book asks a surprisingly enthralling question. Is it really them against the world, or could they be onto something? Diane Setterfield, who is the author of The 13th Tale, I think had a very kind of nice quote about this. She said, "This quietly brilliant book is as funny as it is wise, as tender as it is groundbreaking. Ronan Hessian mines for gold in the modest lives and ordinary friendships that might appear unpromising to another writer, and my goodness, he finds it. It is also a happy book, and we need those." I think we can all agree we need some happy books right now. And then finally, Red Dress in Black and White is a stirring, timely new novel that unfolds over the course of a single day in Istanbul. It's the story of an American woman attempting to leave behind her life in Turkey to leave without her husband. It's a novel for those drawn to international settings and taut drama, perfect for readers of Katie Kitamura, Adam Haslett, Elif Boutman, Garth Greenwell, and Andre Dubois III. Michael Russo from Library Journal in a starred review says, "This absolutely riveting novel moves rapidly, an attention-grabbing, cleverly plotted, character-driven yarn. In Agatha Christie fashion, Ackerman gathers his characters for what appears to be the grand finale, but saves the true reveal for the very end." If that doesn't hook you, I don't know what will.
And just to add here, The Daughters of Erie Town is going to be read by Cassandra Campbell, who reads Where the Crawdads Sing, little known audiobook that may be the most popular one on demand in your library. So this is a great follow-up recommendation for people who loved her narration. She also reads a million other things, but I think right now that's probably at the top of most people's lists. And Red Dress in Black and White is read by Maggie Meg Reed. And I just can't wait to read and listen to all of these. They sound fabulous. And last but not least, we have some related audio titles for kids and teens. So the dark magic category was super fun. I had trouble choosing because there are so many amazing middle grade and YA books that lend themselves to this category, but I had to choose The Babysitter's Coven as one. It's read by Phoebe Stroll, who Spring Awakening fans might remember. I remember seeing her a million years ago on the original cast of that show, but she's a fabulous audiobook narrator. And I love the way this is described. It's Adventures in Babysitting meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mean, come on. Adventures in Babysitting is like one of my husband's favorite movies. I feel like it's a good
classic
quarantine revisit pick. But this sounds super fun. And Cosmopolitan describes it as the Babysitter's Club, but spooky. Booklist says it's a high-energy series starter. Thank goodness. That's plenty of fun. So this is a funny, action-packed listen about a coven of witchy babysitters who realize their calling to protect the innocent and save the world from an onslaught of evil. I was a babysitter for many years, and it was never quite that dramatic, thankfully. And also on the slide, I had to include, so this is the fourth and final book and audiobook in Libba Bray's amazing Diviner series. If people are fans of audiobooks, you know January Lavoie's name. You know why this series, I can't think of many series where every book in the series, every audiobook in the series got an Audiophile Earphones Award. This is so incredible. People liken her to what Jim Dale did for Harry Potter. I mean, even just in the most recent of her 4 Audiophile Earphones Award reviews for this series, they said the producers of this audiobook might have been tempted to hire a full cast as there are more than 25 characters in this story. The choice to leave it to Lavoie was inspired as she needs no supporting cast. This is just an incredible, this is a great recommendation too for someone who hasn't tried an audiobook before. A teen or an adult, I think, would love this series. Lair of Dreams, which was earlier in the series, won an Audio Award for Best YA Audiobook in 2016. And I just can't recommend the series highly enough. So fits perfectly into that dark magic category. And if you want to go back to 1920s New York City, then here you go. And then instead of universal truths, I changed for children to a STEM category, which I think also connects perfectly with that idea of connecting with nature and our world. And what better for young kids than Wildlife According to Og the Frog. This is the next installment. I love that oh my gosh, this review from Booklist, they said for the first one, Life According to Og the Frog, if there were ever an audiobook perfect for a family road trip, this is it. Mayer's exuberant performance elevates this terrific story so far above the written form, you might be tempted to have a second or third listen. So we're so glad there's a new one, perfect for summer. Elizabeth, I know you love that wildlife. This is a perfect way to experience it if you don't want to really deal with it in real life, right? Just press play. And then Girls Who Code, I wanted to remind you, you probably are familiar with this title, hopefully. We talked last week about Reshma Saujani and how Brave Not Perfect is a wonderful listen for adults. And this came out before that. It's Girls Who Code, which is her organization as well, that has been transforming thousands of girls' lives across the country, and just really reminds us the importance of, you know, what we're capable of and what learning code can do for all of us, and especially empowering young girls. So this is a great listen, especially with all the homeschooling going on. I think this could be a really inspiring choice. Yoga and meditation. So thankful for all the wonderful titles that Chelsea shared. And I wanted to remind you, we also have great ideas for kids. And it's really hard to get little kids to sit still, but these listens might help. I think having a calming voice, having, you know, it's hard to come up with it yourself sometimes. You know, you try and remember what you've learned. And so these can definitely help. Wonderful listens to recommend to families who want to try it at home with young kids. And then finally, mysteries and thrillers. We love this, and there's so many amazing ones for YA. Escape room. Have any of you ever done an escape room? I have not either. But after this book, I don't think I'm ever...
escape the room these days quite a bit.
Well, actually, this is sort of like your life then, because this is an escape room that cannot be escaped. So what's really cool about this audiobook is it's read by a full cast. So you really get the experience of all the different kids who are in this competition or game together and what it's like to realize that there might not be an escape from this escape room. So I don't think we're going to be rushing to try in real life after this book, but it's a definitely fun listen for people who like to be scared. And then finally, and also I just want to mention this is a paperback original from Underlined. So that's a new initiative from them, and I think a really cool one to listen up for. So it's a paperback, and then we have the audio. And finally, The Boy in the Red Dress. This is A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue meets Miss Fisher's murder mystery. It's a rollicking romp of truth, lies, and troubled pasts. And it opens on New Year's Eve, 1929, which I feel like gets me right away. Millie is running the show at the Cloak and Dagger, a swinging speakeasy in the French Quarter while her aunt is out of town. The boy in the red dress is Marion, the club's star performer, and his fans are legion, if mostly underground. But then a young socialite wields a photograph of Marion, starts asking questions, and suddenly she's dead. So this is a really fun mystery listen. It's read by Sophie Amos. Kirkus said this LGBTQ-themed historical mystery is far from a drag, and it's a hotsy-totsy read. So what better than to recommend those to people who love mysteries, and especially your YA listeners. And I wanted to thank you, first of all, anyone who's submitted so far. It's so much fun to see your faces. We're so thrilled to know you're out there listening. You see our faces every week. It's really fun to see who you are and what you have to say. It's really inspiring, and we've given you a little more time. We would love for you to participate. We really are excited to be gathering your messages so that we can put together a really feel-good, inspiring video for listeners and viewers out there who are graduating this year from their librarians. Who better to share some love? So even if you just want to say congratulations from your library or from your librarian, no pressure to come up with anything more than that, but whatever you want to share in terms of advice, it could be really short, and the info is at that link. So tinyurl.com/PRH Library Grad Video. And we hope that you'll submit something by Friday. And then we need a new question of the week. So here we go. With Memorial Day coming up, we wanted to get, more patriotic, show our red, white, and blue love with some books, of course. So we're asking you to tell us what's your favorite book that has a red, white, or blue cover. I don't know if you could see my display back here. I missed being Vanna White, so I had to have something to point to this week. I was so tempted to wear sequins again. If you don't know what I'm talking about, episode 6 last week. Anyway, so we hope you'll share with us either at the hashtag PRH Morning Buzz or in the survey that comes at the end of this session, which is just a few minutes. So thank you for sticking with us. We hope you'll fill out the survey. We want to know more about you and what you need and what you want. And we hope you'll share what your favorite book with a red, white, or blue cover is. And we're going to help you make a virtual Memorial Day display for your virtual libraries to reach patrons. So we were excited to share that with you next week. Oh my gosh.
It's only Wednesday.
Time is fluid.
It is. I need Brian Greene to explain it to me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Any final last words before we say goodbye this week?
I'll just say I saw a lot of questions about requesting e-galleys. So please do go to NetGalley or to Edelweiss. Some books are available on both. Some are only available on one. So, but if you do have any trouble finding something you're looking for that we said was available, email us at library@penguinrandomhouse.com, and we'll do our best to help you.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope we see you next week, too. Happy reading.
Hi, guys. See you next week.
Bye.